Joining us right now, a leader in the business, to talk about the film industry, Tooley Entertainment CEO, Tucker Tooley. His films, including We're the Millers, Dear John, and The Fighter, have grossed more than $1.2 billion at the box office. And Tucker, it is good to have you on the program.
Great to have you.
Thank you so much for joining us. By the way, I love The Millers. That was such a great film, and you've done some great work. What are the main issues right now in the movie industry? Why do you think things have really begun to turn around in the last couple of years, haven't they?
Look, I think internationally, box office is growing. Obviously, China last year was $6.6 billion in box office, #2 in the world. You know, the U.S. box office is growing, up 2% last year. I think people want content, and as they get used to having content on all of their devices, there's more of a hunger for it.
What about blockbuster versus lower cost? I mean, for a long time, we were talking about, oh, well, the blockbusters, you know, the expensive films really work, and then for a long time they weren't working. So what's working now?
Sure, well, both. While you have all the blockbusters in the summer period and at Christmas time, there are opportunities to counter-program with smaller films. And you see that with, especially with the female audience. Bad Moms, you know, You Before Me, The Shallows, all films last summer that worked very well in the summer territory. Now,
you mentioned China a moment ago. I want to talk about this because China, one of the great exports of the U.S. has been the movie business to China. The box office there is booming in recent years. Some say it could actually overtake the U.S. You're expecting that?
Yeah, I expect in 2019, 2020 that it'll overtake the U.S. box office.
And that's just the fact that there's just a sheer amount of people. I mean, it's so much bigger than the U.S.
An audience of 1 billion.
Exactly, 300 million in the U.S., 1 billion too in China. Does that growing influence in China affect your decision-making in terms of what to make?
Sure, certainly. I mean, you're making movies for an international audience today, so it's not only China, but the rest of the world you have to think about when you're making a film.
Yeah, okay. So how has it dictated what's out there today, do you think?
I think certainly there have been more four-quadrant blockbuster sort of summer films made. Those appeal generally to a very wide audience, all 4 quadrants. So I think a lot more of those are going to be made.
Okay, so blockbuster obviously much more expensive as well.
Certainly.
But you're getting the money because you're capitalizing on the China audience and the Asian audience, or just audiences internationally.
Certainly, and you're all things to all people with a 4-quadrant movie.
And as a movie executive, you have to do that, right? Because you're just not getting the growth just in the U.S.
Certainly, I mean the big studios are focused primarily in that zone. I think there are opportunity for producers, you know, like myself, to focus on counter-programming and sort of play against that.
Which is what you've been doing. You're working in Atlanta on this new film, Den of Thieves. Let's talk about it. Congratulations. An action thriller starring Gerard Butler and rapper 50 Cent.
Yes. Curtis 50 Cent Jackson and O'Shea Jackson, who starred in Straight Outta Compton a couple summers ago. It's a movie about the heist of the Federal Reserve Bank. We're
looking at pictures right now. This is an exclusive sneak peek. So describe what we're seeing.
So we're seeing the good guys and the bad guys. We have a group of an elite unit in the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department who really hunt down the bad guys in the film, and this is a bank robbery scene from the film.
And they're going to the Federal Reserve Bank in New York?
Los Angeles Federal Reserve Bank. And you know, as you know, the purpose of the Federal Reserve in general is to make sure the bad currency gets out of circulation and they keep good currency in circulation. The concept of the movie is if they can rob the bad currency before it's destroyed, no one's looking for it.
You know, it's interesting because this is a subject matter that in some cases or in some corners would be seen as, I don't know, dry, businessy, but you made it sexy.
Well, yeah, look, I think it's sexy. I think anytime you can come up with an institution that's highly protected, that is almost impossible to rob, and then you can rob it in a film, it's fun, it's entertaining.
It sure is. Tucker, great to have you.
Thank you.
We'll be watching. Good luck with Den of Thieves. It is set to open in theaters next year in January, so we look forward to that.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Tucker Tooley joining us there.